Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Drew from Enjoy Hoi Polloi, helping here with some ideas to help you make better music, get it out, and get it heard. So tonight, as you can see, I'm playing around with my Sub 37. I've also got a live instance set up here, and basically what I'd like to do is just go through a little bit about how I've been starting to mess around with my Sub 37 to create some lead sounds. What I would typically do in live is create and program the MIDI because I'm not the most adept keyboard player in the world. So I would probably program my MIDI in live first. And what I've got here is an instance of external instrument. So this is sending whatever MIDI I would have, and I don't have a track created here because I'm actually going to screw around with this live tonight. But I don't have any MIDI track here. But if I did, and again, that's typically what my process is to create the melody in MIDI, program that in Ableton first, then have that sent to my Moog Sub 37. I've got some hardware latency set here because there will be inherent latency in this. And then what I would do is have that sent to a separate channel. So I've got this audio channel here set up with a couple of effects. And that is effectively what you'll see on the meter and what I would be recording. So that's where my audio is going to be coming through back from the Sub 37. So again, typically I would have MIDI programmed in live. It would be sent to my Moog Sub 37. Then the audio would be recorded back live in a separate track in Ableton. And then basically there'd be a little bit of adjustment that would have to be made for some of the latency that you still see. So basically I'm just going to be dicking around on the Sub 37, trying to create some cool patches. Usually what I like to say is, what I would say rather is, when you're creating something in analog, simple is best. So, I mean, you can create something really cool and complex with this, evolving, etc. But for the purposes of what I want to do, it's going to be somewhat ambient. There's going to be a lot of excess noise in the track, or a lot of excess, not noise, there's going to be a lot of space in the track. So basically, I want the patch that I'm creating on my Sub 37 to be really kind of simplistic. And then within Ableton, I'll actually do some manipulation of the initial audio that I create, chopping that up, processing it differently. Maybe I'll record it through a couple of different waveforms, or maybe I'll play around with the filter, or add distortion, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of different things you can do, but what you want to do is just get that initial patch developed. Now, right now, I'm actually just going to group all of this stuff so that it's easy to turn on and off. So now if you want to hear just what the stock initialization preset on my Sub 37 sounds like, really basic sawtooth wave. Okay, cool. So that's what we're going to start with. I'm going to play around with it live, as you can see, and we'll come up with something cool. Okay, here we go. That sounds pretty cool. So as you can see, give you a quick overview of the Sub 37. This is not a Sub 37 video, so but I'll give you a quick explanation of what you're looking at. So first off, the Sub 37 is a 2-oscillator synthesizer. It is a paraphonic synth, which basically means it's really mono, but you can effectively have both synthesizers playing different notes at different times, which makes it paraphonic. Different notes at the same time, which makes it paraphonic. But what I've done here is effectively a mono patch. So let me turn the arpeggiator off. You have the arpeggiator, you have the glide or the portamento, you have modulation source 1, modulation source 2, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and then the controls for the sync of the oscillators. Then you have your mixer section. Mixer section. So you've got the volume for oscillator 1, volume for oscillator 2. You also have a sub oscillator, so technically you can say this is a 3 oscillator, but you can't control this note separately. It's just automatically an octave below this one, octave below oscillator 1. Then you also have a noise generator. So then you have a feedback loop. So what this does is effectively takes the signal that's coming out of this, loops it back in on itself to create a little bit of distortion. So if you want to just get a sense of what that sounds like, you can make some pretty cool stuff with it. Then you have Moog's awesome ladder filters, and most of the people who get Moog synthesizers buy them for this. This is really what Moog is known for in terms of its sound. So the controls, obviously, you've got the filter cutoff knob, you've got the resonance, multi-drive, so this is another distortion filter. You have the filter amount, then you have the keyboard track. So I've got the keyboard track off. Sorry, I should also explain, they do have a slope here. You can do 6 dB, 12 dB, 18, and 24. I tend to like to use the 12 just because I feel like it's got a lot of really cool musicality to it. For this patch, I had it on the 18 for whatever reason. Anyway, then you've got a pair of envelopes. So the one on the top is the filter envelope. So you can see I've got the multi-trigger set so that it re-triggers the filter every time I press a note. Also reset to all of that. Same thing on the bottom here. We've got the amplitude envelope. So this is the actual amp, the volume of the sound itself. Pretty basic controls. This is a really utilitarian synth. It's fucking sweet. I love it. I'm so glad I bought it. As you can see, you get some really cool sounds out of it. So what I'm going to do is actually just record on one of these instances here while I'm just screwing around, trying to make something cool. Maybe I'll come up with a cool 8-bar loop out of all this. So. So that's going to conclude this video, 13 minutes. So if you like the content, you want to see more of this kind of stuff, please subscribe to the channel, give me a like on the video, and I'd love to hear your comments below. Thanks, guys, and take it easy.